Good morning, everyone. I am so excited, and thanks for everyone being with us this morning. I'm with Olivia Summerhill. She is up really early because she's in Seattle. So, thank you for being with us this morning. Olivia is the founder of Summerhill Wealth Management, works exclusively with affluent women, protecting their lifestyle throughout their divorce process. I just said to her, thankfully, I don't need her services. Mitch and I are doing well. I said I haven't killed him yet through the pandemic, so we're good. However, the truth is that I think, one of the things I love to do on Facebook Live is really bring, a wealth of information and people to these talks. And, it's really important to know, I think, especially for women, to know what we don't know. And what I find with this particular topic is my girlfriends, people I work with, is that we're not great about knowing our finances when we come into a marriage. We were maybe independent women, and then we go into a marriage and we're like, okay, we'll let somebody else handle it now. Even when we have our own careers, or and sometimes we don't have our own careers. So I'm really looking forward to sort of diving in and talking about all these sort of topics that we need to know about. But before we do that, let's get a little bit of background on who Olivia Summerhill is, and what, a little bit more about what Summerhill Wealth Management is all about, because I did my own research, which I want everybody to sort of head over to summerhillwealth.com, and you offer a lot of different services. So
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you for having me this morning. I know that this topic is really taboo,
Mhm.
especially for women. There's a study out there, like 87% of even women who are educated, who are in careers that they're really passionate about, it doesn't matter. They still want to give the finances over to the male in the relationship, thinking that the male is going to be better. And I am here to tell you they're not.
Mhm.
Um, all the research that's been done, we actually are better investors. We're better at asking the right questions. It's intimidating. So, especially the topic of finances and divorce, that's like a double whammy. So, Summerhill Wealth is all about helping women through the divorce process and post divorce. Because let's face it, most of us in general, whether we worked outside of the home or we were at home with children, we were giving the finances to the men. And if you're going through divorce or thinking about going through divorce, that's the most terrifying experience you can think about is, am I going to be okay after the divorce?
Right.
Is he going to take complete advantage of me? And most of the time, we're sitting in the room with all these powerful people talking about the divorce, shaking our head because we're so intimidated. We don't know what's going on. We don't know the terms. And so we're just shaking our head. And we're most likely getting taken advantage of, to be completely honest. That's what I've seen the last decade of being in finance. Is this is a realm that I think I could do better by just helping specifically women during that divorce process, holding their hand and saying, you don't need to know this term, let's explain it, but let's actually make it really easy, and you don't have to just shake your head and be alone. um,
I
so
think some of the things, and I know that you handle a certain asset level, but let's talk in general. Sometimes
sure.
what I hear is, can I afford to get divorced? We're certainly in this pandemic time where the economy is different. Can I afford to get divorced? I have children. How are they going to be taken care of? What do I do? What if I didn't work outside the home?
Mhm.
What am I entitled to? And I know different states and different things, but I do hear that as my friends or colleagues go through it, is what what am I, can I afford to even do this?
Mhm. Well, and that's a great question. And that's absolutely the best one to ask at the very beginning. And my answer to that is yes, it's a scary topic to talk about, but if you can do your research and talk to the right people, do it. So that means in your state, wherever you're at, talk to either a divorce mediator. So someone
Mhm.
who at the very least can say, this is the services I provide, here's the options, and they'll be able to say the affordability level, or talk to a divorce attorney and just do an inquiry. They're very used to this. This is their world.
Mhm.
And at the very least, you'll feel not alone. And that's the most important thing. So yes, you might have to pay for that session of 30-minute conversation, but have the
Right.
questions you have all written down, ready to go, and ask the questions to a professional that can help you and give you that solid advice as an attorney or a mediator. The other thing is that I always recommend is there's tons of resources free online. So
Right.
go online. There's so many things that you can do. On my site, I have a resource page of things that you can read and things that you can look at online. That's my best recommendation there is before you make the jump. Yes, friends are great, family, talking to them if you can, but they most likely don't know your situation, and you might also be
Right.
feeling really, you might
It
not even want to talk about it, right?
Right. And
So
this is one of those times, like many times, where I say friends are fabulous to be a sounding board, but they are not experts in what you need. And you need an expert. I've
yes.
had plenty of friends who have gone through this, and I
Mhm.
know nothing. And that I'll be the first to say this is not where I'm an expert. And
Mhm.
so, head over to some place like
Yeah.
summerhillwealth.com where there's resources, because
Mhm.
Olivia, this is what you do. I
Yes.
mean, and we're in Michigan, but I don't care where you are,
Mhm.
people are there to help you. um
Mhm.
um if you worked or you didn't work outside of the home,
Mhm.
you know are you entitled to keeping the lifestyle, whatever that lifestyle is? Are you entitled to keep your lifestyle the way you are accustomed to?
Great
um
question.
you
That's
know I didn't, let's say I never worked. I raised my
Mhm.
children, which, by the way, I want to clarify right there. That is work.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
That is hard work.
Yes.
And, am I allowed to, do I have to all of a sudden work? I mean, that's a very scary conversation, you know?
Yes. And I think a lot of people avoid it. So the thing is of course, no one can say what's going to happen at the end of everyone's divorce, but in general, most of the women I work with did not work outside of the home. And that's why I can come in as a financial powerhouse and help them during the divorce with their assets and creating that long and short term goals financially and making sure that they're not taken advantage of, so that they
Mhm,
can have that alimony, even when the ex is wanting to not give it at all. So
mhm,
in every state, if you're going through divorce within a divorce attorney, you might have to go to court. They absolutely, the judges want to make it fair and equitable as you had a lifestyle in the past. So they want that, even, if you had a certain lifestyle, they want that to stay the certain way. Is that realistic that you're going to have the expectation of the exact lifestyle post divorce? Most likely not as much, because you have two separate homes now, you have two separate bills, you have two expenses. However, working with the right team is going to help you get to a better lifestyle than trying to do it on your own and not getting to the right steps. And that's
So it, I would say that, like, often that what you have to do is look at, like, what the assets are, whether
Mhm.
you choose to say or advise, sell this, keep this,
Mhm.
divide this
Mhm.
in the
Exactly.
process. Okay.
And also, there's usually debt that the spouse doesn't know about.
Mm.
Or this is a big one, is the usually husband, and I'm sorry to say that, but it usually is. So I used to manage hundreds of millions of dollars in assets, and most of my clients were men. I had a lot of females then start coming to me because they heard what I do and I want to help females. And they started bringing their divorced friends around, and they didn't need a retirement plan in 30 years. They needed someone to help them with what's happening post divorce right now. So that's why I
Mhm.
started my business is, oh my gosh, I'm getting all these referrals, and these women don't need an advisor helping them with really long term. They need someone to help them with their divorce and finances. And
Right.
with that, yeah.
So
And
so after their divorce, they just didn't know how to manage their money or,
absolutely.
yeah,
I wouldn't expect anyone
right.
who's been staying at
Well,
home.
so that brings me to like, like I said, I was doing some research and it made me think about our younger generation.
Mhm.
As you and I were talking about offline, and I think this is the hardest conversation to have. You know, I got married, I'd like to say I had nothing. Um, I think our younger generation gets married today somewhat a little later,
Mhm.
and kids, yeah, they come into marriages with sometimes a little more assets. Do you recommend prenuptial agreements? Are these more common today? Is it something? It's a hard conversation, but there's a little more wealth in the younger generation. Sometimes there's family businesses where kids are going into. Um, are you seeing more of that? Is that more common?
So that's something where at this point, divorce attorneys would tell you you always want to get a prenup. So on the financial end, it's really up to the couple and how much is actually in that asset pool. I think talking to a divorce attorney or an attorney in general about a prenup, yes, you want to most likely get that, but I can't give advice on it. I
Yeah.
do see there is more wealth as we're getting older and getting married later ages. My clientele is 45 to 55 women. So they've been married for 10, 15 years. But I have seen in the past, millennials, a lot of the younger generations are getting older and marrying older and later. And they do have wealth coming into the relationship. And that is going to cause issues if they don't have the conversation about money. So I'm glad you're bringing it up, because if you don't get a prenup, okay, but you do have to have the money conversation. And I think a lot of people avoid it.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting that, one of the conversations that I think doesn't happen is the money conversation.
Yeah.
Um, I would say that more, even though people are getting married a little later,
Mhm.
generally speaking, it's a two income to start
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
anyway, two income,
Mhm.
couple. Whether it continues that way, can be determined, but sometimes someone stops working when they
Mhm.
decide to have a family.
Mhm.
But I think that we still are so afraid to have the money conversation,
Mhm.
and I'm not really sure why.
Mhm.
We are so afraid to have a conversation about money. you
Well,
know I was going to say, how we want to, how we want, not even share it, I mean,
yeah.
like, but just how we want to save it, how we want to spend it, what we want to do. I don't know. I've been married almost 30 years. We still don't,
Yeah.
we're not even good at it, I'll say. We just, I think that it's an interesting dynamic in the world, I guess.
Mhm. Well, it also goes back to how are you raised? What is your behavior with finances as you were a kid and your habits, and what were you taught and told? And that's what I work with women on is,
Hmm.
okay, you're post divorce, you're on your own. This is a terrifying time, but you have someone now holding your hand, helping you through how to pay bills, how to actually build your credit. What do you need to do with the mortgage? You need to get a new house. Let's actually go house shopping together. Let's actually do this and make you not, we don't want to make you independent, rah, rah, because we're not trying to change you. But let's take the money habits that you got taught as a child and let's see if we can incorporate that to make your life better. Because we don't want to have the same relationship happen again with finances. Because most of the time people get divorced because they haven't talked about the finances. So that's something we can change if we change our behaviors.
So just a final question. What are maybe bad habits
Mhm.
that should be, and maybe bad isn't the right word, but what are habits women have that we should be looking in at ourselves, whether we're in the divorce, or just, wanting to be more financially independent in our conversations, I guess is probably the better way to say it. In order to have a more healthier relationship with ourselves, in our couple, what are the things that we need to do, ask, and work on?
I think you just said it, ask. So if you have entrusted your significant other or the person that you just married, you've been married to 20 years, doesn't matter, or you're about to get divorced, you have to ask these questions about the finances. Okay, where are our accounts? And so it's in the stock market. Is it aggressive, conservative? And all of these questions, really asking, instead of just the spouse, asking the third party professional. So that needs to be a financial professional. So certified financial planner. So someone who is literally giving you the best plan for you and your significant other, or just you if you're single. But asking the right questions to that third party is really going to enlighten you on what's going on. And don't feel dumb, because you are not alone. Everyone is not asking these questions. So if you're just asking it, you should feel really confident about that. That's wonderful.
I appreciate you saying that, because I think that everyone sort of does feel a little inadequate in the finances. I guess I do have another question.
Yeah.
When looking for someone like you,
Mm-hmm.
what are the qualities, what are the qualifications, what are the letters after the name, or things like that, that we should be dialing up?
It's so hard in every field. It's like, okay, what this person has all
Right.
these
I find it's alphabet soup sometimes.
It's so bad. Okay. So it really, CFP dot, I think it's org, has certified financial planners, which the new term nowadays is fiduciary. They're doing what's in your best interest. So you really want to get someone who has the right credentials. So CFP is good in the financial world. That's the top echelon gold standard. So going to that website, CFP, just find a planner that way, but interview 3 or 4. They're not going to charge a fee. They're not like a lawyer or an attorney. So talk to them, make sure you're a good fit. And most of the time, that's the best thing you can do, is just find a personality fit once you know that they have that CFP designation.
So it was, and it was interesting. A few weeks ago, I interviewed someone, and I like to say that people are worried about talking to a financial planner, thinking that they have to have this pot of money. And I want to bring this up with you too, to dispel that rumor of that you can see a financial once or twice in your life, or a financial planner can be somebody who you check in with quite often. But a financial planner is someone that needs to be part of your, I like to say, your team. So I lied. I had more questions for you.
That's
Sorry.
great. No,
It's my Facebook Live. I can ask.
You can do whatever you want. And
That's right.
I think these are important questions, because that's the biggest thing. Intimidation. People think, okay, well, I just started out, I just got married, I can't afford that, or I don't think that they're going to think I'm worthy. That is the biggest BS. Every single person, I don't care if you have 50,000, 500,000. So I work with usually 50 million and above, but it doesn't matter who you are, what you have. You absolutely should go to a planner. And once again, like you just said, you could go once and just see that plan.
Just get yourself in line.
Just know where you are. Because if you don't, then you have no path to get to where you want to be. You have no clue where your goals are financially, because you can say, oh, I want to retire. Well, I promise you that planner will make you actually think more and contemplate, and it's going to be uncomfortable, but such a good process. You're going to really find out what your goals are financially. They're not going to sell you anything too. I want to make that clear, because I think that's the biggest thing, and why I got into the industry is, oh my God, I hate advisors. They all sell. They want to have you buy stuff. Not anymore. Not with a planner. They don't sell. So just
I'm glad you said that, and I hope that people are hearing that and listening, and making a financial planner part of sort of your healthy you, because I think that's an important part of taking care of your healthy brain, and how you lay things out, especially in the the economy we're having. It's a never changing economy, and things have changed for your business, for your personal plan, for how you take care of your kids, things that have changed within your own family. So it's interesting as I have interviewed different people at different levels of finances, who they take care of at all different levels. They all seem to have a very similar message.
Mhm.
I don't care if it's high wealth,
Mhm.
middle ground. They've all said the same sort of message to me. Like, I don't care if somebody comes in once and we say, get on this plan and I'll see you 10 years from now. It doesn't matter. So, Olivia, is there anything I didn't ask you? Because I certainly want to bring that up. It's been, really fun to have some time with you today.
It's been really fun. I think that we covered really good bases. So that it's been just a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, great. On my Facebook Live, I will reiterate summerhillwealth.com. Go there and check out all the resources that this particular company, Summerhill Wealth Management, puts out. Look, in your own backyard if necessary, but definitely reach out, and Olivia can sort of help you as well. So enjoy Seattle. Hopefully, I can
Will
get
do.
back out there. It is such a beautiful city. As I told you before, we ate our way through
Oh,
Seattle.
so good.
So, happy, healthy new year.
Yes, thank you.
Good meeting you. Take
Nice to
care.
meet you. Bye.
Bye.